Hello, everyone. Welcome in. This class is going to help you learn how to use Design Space on your desktop or laptop. I'll be using Design Space on my desktop. Now, you can use Design Space on your mobile devices too, but I specifically wanted to narrow it down to desktop and laptop today. But if you're joining me from your mobile device, will be able to help you there too. So don't worry, you don't have to leave if you're using a tablet or a phone device. The class is set up into 3 parts. The first part, we're going to do a presentation using slides to talk about Design Space. So you can walk through Design Space. In this part, I encourage you to take notes. Write down questions you might have as I'm going through. Or take notes about information that I share with you. Then I'm going to invite you to open up Design Space with me and we'll work together to create a project. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. I'll share my screen here and we'll start with our presentation. Excuse me. So Cricut Design Space. Now, Cricut Design Space is a free application and it works with whichever device you're using. So if you're joining with a Cricut Join machine, a Cricut Explore machine, or a Cricut Maker, all of those machines work with Design Space. And Design Space is designed to work with your Cricut ID. So you just need to have one single Cricut ID, no matter how many different devices you put Design Space on. And by that, I mean, I have Design Space on my on all my devices. It's on my desktop, my laptop, my tablet, and my phone. So I can use Design Space wherever I go. And all my information is stored up in the cloud. So when I transfer from one device to the other, I sign into Design Space using my Cricut ID. Now, when you've registered your machine, that's when you've set up your Cricut ID. And once you've registered your first machine, you also have a trial to Cricut Access. So Cricut Access and Design Space are 2 different things. Design Space is the software that allows you to create and send information over to your machine. Cricut Access is the digital library of content. So Cricut Access includes over 300,000 different images, 700 different fonts, and thousands of projects. There is a monthly fee associated with Cricut Access. So that's why I recommend when you get your machine, go ahead and do that 30-day free trial when you know you have a little bit of time to get started crafting. So you use that 30-day free trial to really run it through its paces and explore all the different options you have in Cricut Access and see if it's something you want to use or not. If you choose not to use Cricut Access, you can always, and even if you choose to use Cricut Access, you can still upload content you've created or gotten elsewhere into Design Space using the upload feature. And you can use Cricut Access images and fonts a la carte. And what I mean by that is you can search the Cricut Access library, find an image you want to use, and then purchase just that one image. Once you've purchased the image, that image is yours to use. Now, if you have a side hustle, I do recommend you check out Cricut's Angel policy so you understand how to use all the Cricut Access images. But we're here today to talk mostly about Design Space. So Design Space is either an app that you add to your phone or your tablet device, or it's also an app that you can add to your desktop or laptop. It is Android and iOS compatible. So what you do is you add Design Space, and then on your desktop or laptop, you'll come into the home screen. Now, the home screen in Design Space is your command central. This is where you can navigate from the home screen to the canvas and back and forth. Also on the home screen, it has the universal keyword search bar. And this is where you can search for images, for projects, and for profiles in the community. The bar is right here. The keyword search bar is right here. And you just would type in any of the pardon me, in the keyword search, you would type in a keyword for what you're looking for. So if you know you're looking for images that are about Valentine's Day, you can do Valentine's Day. And once you do your keyword search, you'll get options for projects, images, community projects, or people who are in the community who've created a profile with Valentine in their name. You also have on your home screen your drop-down menu bar. From your drop-down menu bar, this is where you can access Cricut's learning plan. You can navigate to the Canvas screen. You can set up a new machine. Lots of different things within the drop-down menu that are more of like setting oriented. So let's go a little bit closer look here. This is where you can manage your account details. You can update your firmware. So if your machine needed to have an update to the firmware, that's the software in your Cricut cutting machine, you would do that here. Now from here, you can also access your profile. So I have my profile here, and your profile is where you set up associated with your Cricut ID, and this is sort of where your command center is. Within your Cricut ID, you can set up your profile and access projects you've saved, images you've saved, or images and projects you've shared with the Cricut community. So now we're back to our home screen here. Oops, sorry. I think I have something covering up my, okay, we're back at our home screen. This is again where your keyword search button is, and that's kind of, I do that, that's one of the first things I do when I start a project. I kind of go in and see what images or projects are already existing in Design Space that I could use as a springboard for my project. So here you have some featured images, some community projects, as well as just lots of inspiration and ideas. Now from your home screen, again, this is your springboard. So up here in the right-hand corner are two things to take into account. One is the drop-down menu here, which you choose which cutting machine you're using, and the new project icon. From the new project icon, when you click on that, it will take you into your canvas. Let's see if I'm going to go over there. Oops. Here we go. So when you're ready to go into your canvas, the canvas, so your home screen is your design, is like your central location. The canvas is your design central location. When you open up your canvas, it's a blank canvas to begin creating. Now, if you're on a mobile device, your canvas will look a little bit different because you don't have as much real estate on your screen. So on a mobile device, a lot of what I'm going to point out will be along the bottom of your screen. So you just kind of have to scroll across, but all of the icons are on the bottom of your mobile device on your screen. If you're joining me on a tablet, same thing, it's on the bottom of the screen, but it's spread out a little bit more. So here we have your canvas. Now, in your canvas space, you have some different areas to work with. So I kind of like to go around the canvas and look at what we have. Our top gray bar here is similar to the gray bar top on the home screen. So again, if you just click the hamburger menu here on the left, it's the same as the hamburger menu on your home screen, and you can click between your canvas and the home screen. So if you get to your canvas, you're like, oh, you know what? I wanted to search for a project. You can do that from the gray header bar here. You also can access the learning plan, your projects. This is where you would save a project and choose your machine that you'll be working with. All of that is right here on the canvas. Now, when you have your drop-down menu for your machines, this is where you would select the machine you're working with. And one thing I want to point out here, why this is important, the machine that you have selected directly relates to images and projects that are available for you to use. So our Cricut Joy machine cuts 4.5 inches wide. So if you're looking to make, say, a card, you'll only find cards that are compatible with the Cricut Joy. So if the card is a 5x7 size card, it won't be compatible to cut on your Cricut Joy. You can still find the card, but you just need to change your machine from Cricut Joy to Maker to find those larger cards, resize it, so then you can cut it on your Cricut Joy. And just one other detail to point out on the canvas, down here on the bottom screen, it's very grayed out, but there's a zoom in and out feature here. It says you can zoom into your canvas or get an overhead picture of what your canvas looks like. And then last part on the actual canvas are your rulers. So the rulers along the side help you identify where your image is on the canvas and what your size is on the canvas. You kind of know, you can use those as your guide to make your image larger or smaller. And those are fixed. Those won't move on you. But a cool little tip, up in the corner here where the two guides overlap, if you click on that corner here, you can change the grid on your canvas. So if you prefer to design without all those lines, you can just click up here in the corner and remove the lines. And you can click again and get bigger squares, and then you have the smaller squares. So you have three options there for how your canvas will look on your desktop. Now this next side, again, I kind of am going to work us around in a circle. So I did my first circle, which was just kind of the outer circle with the header bar and your zoom function. Now let's start our circle reading left to right. On the left side here is the design panel. The design panel is where you go to access elements to add to your canvas. So in your design panel, you have a lot of different options to add pieces, elements to your canvas. So let's take a little look at some of those. The shapes dropout window gives you a lot of different shapes. If you want to build your own design, you can start with the foundation pieces of the shapes. And once you select a shape and bring it onto your canvas, you'll notice a couple things change on the canvas. One is that your shape has what's called a bounding box around it. And the bounding box identifies that that image is selected on your canvas. The shape also shows up in your layers panel on the right, and across the top of your canvas are your edit tools. Now, without anything on your canvas, those are grayed out. But once you add an element from the left, the edit tools become available to you on your shape. So these are all the edit tools that are available for your shape. So up here, you can resize your shape. You can add an offset to your shape. You can rotate your shape. You can change your shape from a cut element to a drawn element. All of that happens up here in the edit bar. Now, another element that we like to add to our canvas is text. So when you click on the text icon, a text box appears on the canvas. From the text box, you can just begin typing away. So once that text box appears, you can start typing in your name or whatever it is that you want to add to your canvas. And below your shape edit bar is the text edit bar. So if you don't have any text on your canvas, this bar you don't see this bar. But once you add text, the text edit bar reappears. And this is where you can select a different font from a drop-down menu. You can change your font size. You can curve your font. If you're using multiple lines of text, you can align that left, center, or right. And all of that happens in the text edit bar. So you add the text on the left, the text edit bar is on the top, and you can see your text layer on the right. I'm seeing some questions on the left here, which is great. So Amy's saying, where is the edit bar? So your edit bar is right below the gray header bar. The first edit bar is your shapes edit bar, an image edit bar right here. And then the next, if you add text, then you get another edit bar for text. And the important thing with the text is like you can really just start writing. You don't have to try and get your cursor in the text box and double click on it or anything like that. You can just start writing. And then when you're ready to edit your text, like if you decide you want to change it, then you would click in the text box with your mouse, like double click in the text box, and then you can highlight and rewrite in your text. And don't forget, this is being recorded. This class has been, will be recorded, and you'll get emailed a link to the class. So you'll have all this information to go back to as well. I will try and go a little bit slower. So now when you have your text and you add, say, an image onto the canvas, your layers panel comes to life. And the layers panel is where each element that you add to the canvas, you can see the different layers on the left side. So this is where your layers are. My text here with the name Felicia is one layer. And then I have a soccer ball in a heart shape that has two layers. It has a black layer and a white layer. So this is your layers panel. Now, also when you have your image selected on your canvas, you have that bounding box around it, and you can see that the colors on your layers panel are selected because they're a different color than your regular layer. So when you have a layer selected, it will show up as a green line in your layers panel. As you add elements onto your canvas, they come in at the top of the layers panel. So when those layers come in, they'll come in at the top and be the top layer of your panel. And I'm going to stop here because I have to do this visual for this. Think of it like a sandwich. So your first layer maybe is your text, and that's your bread. And then you're going to add that soccer ball image, which I got from Cricut Access. You're going to add that soccer ball image, and maybe you're going to add a star image, and then maybe you're going to add an exclamation at the end. Each image or layer, every element that you bring in from the design panel comes into the layers panel to build your sandwich. So it starts at the bottom, and then every layer you add, it builds up from there. Oh, I always like food references. Anytime I can give you a food reference, it's easy. It's better. So now that's all together. Now I want you to, one thing to notice, the Felicia, the name is one layer, and the soccer ball is a separate layer. I have both layers selected in this image. The soccer ball image is not part of the name image. Now, I'll show you a trick though, because when you go to make this image, when you go to cut it, sorry, I went one too far. When you go to cut this image, if I wanted all my black to stay together, I'd have to attach them together. And this is where at the bottom of your layers panel are the action icons. And the action icons are things you can do to the layers to affect each individual layer or multiple layers together. So if I would like to keep the black pieces on the soccer ball cutting on the same line as the name Felicia, I would need to attach those together. And when you think of attach like a staple, I'm stapling those together. So when I send this over to my machine, it's saying my software design space is saying, hey, keep these where they're positioned on the canvas. And that's attach. So I would have two layers selected, and I come down to the layers panel and I select the attach icon. And now you can see on the layers panel, it says attach. And the soccer ball, the black parts of the soccer ball, and the name Felicia are all together. Now, when it goes to your prepare screen, this is how it shows up. So I have two mats I would be cutting, the black with the name Felicia and the black bits of the soccer ball, and a white mat, which is the white bits of the soccer ball. And because everything was of one color, was attached together, it keeps that position of the soccer ball where I had it on my canvas next to the name Felicia. So it keeps it all right there. Now on your prepare mat, you can choose how to load your material. If you're using a Maker 3 or an Explore 3, you could use Smart Material and you could cut it without a mat. If you're using, some of our Cricut Premium vinyl that's not smart vinyl, you would put that on a mat and cut it with the mat. So this is where you can choose that, and as well choose your material size in the prepare screen. And if you were cutting out of iron-on material, you would want to flip that iron-on material so that you cut it mirrored. And this is where you do that on the prepare screen as well. And then you go to the next screen where you choose your material. Now, if you're on an Air 2 that has the dial, you can set your dial to custom and come right in here and browse all materials. If you're on a Maker or an Explore 3, you would automatically be sent to browse your materials and choose your materials. Now let's talk. I see lots of questions about the images, so it's a good thing we're going to kind of go back and talk about images. The images icon here on the design panel, when you click on the images icon, it takes you into Cricut Access. And again, Cricut Access is think of Cricut Access like an encyclopedia, a massive encyclopedia with lots of digital images. So in Cricut Access, you have over 250,000 images to use, and they're being added to every day. So if you did a keyword search for soccer, you would get your results that have soccer related to that keyword search, either soccer ball or the word soccer, or something associated with soccer. Then on the left side here, you have these filters. And the filters allow you to reduce the number of images that you have to select from. So I always find I get a little overwhelmed when I get 400 or more images to scroll through. So that's when I plug in some of my filters. And you can choose, like, if you don't have Cricut Access, if you just, like today, we're going to look for images that are free so everybody can make our project. So you might click the free icon there. And then I have fewer results that are free images that are cut only. So I would choose one of those images and bring that onto my canvas. And that's just the soccer ball. And then I would add my text layer, attach those together, and I could cut it. The soccer ball with the heart, I think I did a keyword search for soccer ball with a heart, and that was for my niece. Now, the last part for Cricut that's important to understand is Cricut has an entire ecosystem. So you have all the pieces you need to be creative and create whatever you'd like to create. Obviously, the first piece you probably got was your machine. And no matter which machine you picked up, you have the entire Cricut ecosystem to go with it. And the ecosystem is your materials, your tools, and your accessories. So if you're doing iron-on, you would select iron-on materials and any tools you need, and your accessories would be your heat press. So everything you need to create with Cricut, you have all at your fingertips. And Michael's has a fantastic Cricut aisle of supplies. Okay, so I've seen lots of questions that have come through, and I've seen Anita has been answering those questions for you. So I'm going to move us forward on the project today, so we have time to get the project done. So keep your questions coming though, because I'm seeing lots of good questions, and the clarification is super helpful. So let's go into, I'm going to share my screen again, and this time I'm going to invite you to open up Design Space with me so we can work together. Now, I will try and do my, as each step, I'll try and slow down and do each step 3 times. So those of you who are crafting with me, the first time you may just want to watch my screen and I'll tell you what I'm doing. And then the second time you can, if you need to, watch my screen again, or you can go try it in Design Space and you can just listen to my voice as I walk you through it. You can switch between, on your desktop or laptop, switch between your Zoom windows or your Design Space window. And you can even minimize each window so you have both of them open. So I'll give everybody just a minute to go ahead and get yourself situated. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to answer this question. Someone's saying, I don't have the Learning Center on Design Space. The Learning Center appears when you have an Explore 3 or a Maker 3. So when you register, yeah.
Kesley, there's one thing about the Learning Center. If they are in Canada, it is not available. That is yet to be coming.
Okay, perfect. If you are in the States and you have an Explore 3 or a Maker 3, then you would have the Learning Center available to you. So you do have to register that with your Cricut ID to have that access. And no, Zoe, you don't have to pay for the app. The app you can just download in however you do it on your device, however you download apps, you can download apps. Design Space, you can go to Cricut.com/Design Space, I think, and you can download Design Space onto your desktop or laptop. Okay. Now, let me go ahead and open up my screen, and I'm going to share my screen here. And I'm going to go over here to Design Space. So this looks like a good question. So if I'm using 3 different fonts in my project and decide to change all 3 to another font, I can't just select all of the text boxes and change all 3 at the top same time. That is a great question. I have to be honest with you. I don't think I've tried that, but we can certainly give it a shot today and see how it works. So yes, so even on an iPad, Design Space there's no charge for using Design Space. There is, if you want to use the Cricut Access Library, you do have to sign up for the membership, and that will give you all of the images and the fonts. Now, Cricut does have some licensed images. You may see some from Disney or something like that. Those are licensed images, and those images are the only images, pretty much the licensed images, that are not included in Design Space. Cricut has if you haven't used your Cricut in a while, or you're new to Cricut, you should know we have a fantastic group of designers that is just forever growing. I'm scrolling down to see if my contributing artists is what they're called. They are fantastic, and you can just kind of go along and find a contributing artist that you might like, and then you can go in and look at all the images that they have. So if you find some contributing artists you like, chances are you're going to like some of their other items that they have. Okay, so from here, what we're going to do is we are in Design Space and we're at the home screen. So we want to create a new project. We're going to go to our canvas. So on the gray header bar, go ahead and click New Project, and this will bring you to the canvas. Now, from the canvas, let's just do that quick refresher. You have on your left side all of your elements to add something to your canvas. So I've seen a couple people asking about adding images from outside of Design Space. That's going to be your upload icon right here. You click on the upload icon, and then you can upload your images to there. And I use this a lot for handwriting images and things like that. That's how you do upload. And we did do a class on that. So that's probably on the Michael's YouTube channel as well. Okay, so for today's class, I suggested everyone have a tumbler, and I'm going to use this tumbler, but you may have a tumbler like this, or you may have a water bottle like this. What we're going to do is add our name and an image to the tumbler. So first, you want to decide how big you want your name to be. So on this tumbler, I'm just going to take my tape measure and measure from the top to the bottom, and it's 7 inches from, I could go all the way up to the cap there. It's about 8 inches, but that's a little bit big for me. So I'm going to kind of probably come down and do my name about 5 inches. Now I'm going to add an image to it. So my whole image piece, at most, I'd want it to be 6 inches, probably more like 5. When I do a cup like this, you can, again, measure your height. But what I do usually is I'll hold my thumb and my pointer finger, and then I'll put my tape measure there to see how wide I might want to go. I think we'll be fine not going wider than between our hands for our project today, but it's up to you. So go ahead and measure your tumbler. I'm going to make my completed design no bigger than 5 to 6 inches. And you can work the same measurement I have and then change it at the end. You don't have to start off with exactly your measurement. You can start with mine and then change it at the end. I'll show you how to do that too. Okay, so on our canvas, the first thing we're going to do is add our text. So you go to the design panel and select the text icon. Now, if you're on a mobile device, that's going to be along the bottom. And if you're on a tablet, that'll be on your bottom left side. On your desktop or laptop, you're going to go to the design panel and click on the text icon. When the text icon appears, you can just start typing your name. So I'm just going to type in my name, Kesley. I'll type my name in right there. It defaults to Cricut Sans, which is a basic generic. I love this font. I actually use this font quite a bit myself. It's a good basic font. But if you want to change your font, all you need to do is go up to the font edit bar. So now that you've added a text box, you'll have 2 lines underneath your header bar. The first one deals with the shape of the element on your canvas. And the second one is specifically for editing your text. So while we've got your name typed into the text box, go ahead and click on the drop-down arrow next to the words Cricut Sans underneath font. So when you click on that, you'll get a lot of choices of fonts. So I've already got mine selected there. You have across the top here 4 different options to sort of narrow down your choices. One is to use Cricut fonts. One is to use system fonts, and system fonts are fonts that you've loaded onto your desktop or laptop. So they're fonts that not just that you've loaded, but that are already loaded onto your device. So like if you use a special font that you love in Microsoft Word, you can likely use that same font in Design Space. You just have to mark your system fonts. You can bookmark your favorite fonts by clicking this little tag next to the name of the font. And then if you click on bookmarked, all your bookmarked fonts will come up. And then the recent will come up with fonts that you've used recently on projects or on your canvas. So it's kind of good if you're like, oh, I just used this really cute font last week. Which font was that? And then you can go back and look at your recent fonts. But for our font selection today, you can, if you have Cricut Access, feel free to choose a font to your liking. If you do not have Cricut Access, we're going to go ahead and apply the free filter so everyone can use the font I'm going to use today if you'd like, or you can scroll through, the fonts. So the font, the free font filter gives me lots of choices here for a variety of different fonts. Some of them are decorative, some of them are cursive, and you can just kind of scroll down and pick a font from the free fonts that you'd like to use. I like to use, the one I like to use is Trade Gothic Display. So I'm going to choose Trade Gothic Display and add that to my canvas. Now my name was hiding back there, so you didn't see it change, but this is a feature I really appreciate about Design Space. I can test out a different font and it will change that font on my canvas. So I can see like, oh no, that's not really what I like to use. I think I'm going to go back to that Trade Gothic Display and add that onto my canvas. So there's my font on my canvas, and I can, once you've had your font selected, you can close out of that font selection bar. And you can change the style of your font. Like if you want to make it bold, if it has other options, you can make it bold or italic. You can change your font size. You can change the letter spacing, and that's the space in between the fonts. And you can change the line spacing. So if you have multiple lines you're using, you can change your line spacing. Again, alignment is multiple lines. You can curve your font. If you want to make it curved, you can just click on that curve icon and curve your font. And then the advanced will separate your fonts into individual layers or lines if you have multiple lines. So that's how you add a text to your canvas. And if I click on my name, that edit bar will appear because I've got my bounding box around my name. I know it's selected. And if I click off of it, I don't have anything selected. So my edit bar is grayed out and everything like that. So now that you have your name on your canvas, now if you don't have Cricut access and you chose a font, it may ask you to pay for it at the end. You can always come back and change it, or you can purchase that font. Again, once you've purchased an image or a font in your Design Space account, that is part of your Design Space account, and you have access to that as long as you have your account. So now let's go over to the images icon, and we're just going to click on the images icon. Let me clear out my filters here. When you come into the images icon, you will have all kinds of options to kind of narrow down your choices. So you can go to the highlighted categories and look at the featured images, the recently added images, or anything like that. You can start off with the free images. If you loved that soccer ball heart, you could type in soccer ball heart and pull up that image. So there's the soccer ball heart from one of our artist, Kat. I'm not going to say her last name, but that's Kat's design there. And if you were doing soccer ball and you didn't have Cricut access and you just wanted to see, well, what does Cricut have free for soccer balls? You could click on that free filter and you could find some soccer balls as well as some different hearts that are available to you and things like that. I know in the States we call it soccer. Other people call it football. Now, if you want to save that image, you could just bookmark it, and that would save it into your My Stuff account. So what I'm going to do is have everybody come back to your canvas. Did I lose my name? Oh, there it is. It's hiding. Sorry, I have the Q&A open and it was hiding behind there. Okay, and let's go ahead and click on images. And if you tried any images, it might keep your filter on, but you'll come into the Cricut image library and go ahead and you can type in a keyword that would work for whatever image goes with your name. So I'm going to type in the keyword smile because I want to find something that has a smile. And I have a lot of different options. So if I have Cricut access, I could choose any of these different images. If I didn't have Cricut access, I would see immediately how much that individual image would cost. But if I didn't want to pay for it, I could just go to, well, let's see what free images are available. And there is a smiley face that I would like to use. I click on that image and it puts that green bounding box around it, letting me know it's going to bring it to my canvas. So then I say add to canvas. And then it's right on my canvas. Okay, so I'm going to show you that one more time. I click on the images, hot air balloon, and I have, I'm going to go to all images and I'll do a browse for smiley face or just smile. Just keep it easy. I'll go for smile. And if I don't have my filter on there, look at all those choices I have for smiles. I can do a moody smile. I could do some little daisy with a smile in it. Just the word smile, a cactus with a smile. I love this cherry. This is one of my favorite artists, PK Oldham. I use her stuff all the time. I just think it's so playful. So I could go and look and see, well, what kind of designs does she have I can go and look at her space and see what types of designs that she has. Maybe it's Valentine's Day, you want to do something with an XOXO, you can do that. And then I'll just go back into my smile, and I'm just going to choose one of our free images, which will be the big smiley face here. And I'll add that to my canvas. Now, once that image is on my canvas, you'll see in your layers panel that I have multiple layers on my canvas. I have the smiley face and then my name, Kesley. My smiley face is humongous. It's 3 inches big, and I want it to be more the size that would go next to my name. So my name is, right now, it's 0.92 inches tall. And my smiley face, let's say I want to make it the same size or a little bit bigger than my name. So up in the edit bar, so working ourselves left to right, we've gone to the left, the design panel, added the image to our canvas, and across the top is the edit panel where we can resize our image. Now on the corner of the bounding box are these little white squares. You can move your image in and out to change the size of your image. Or you can come up to the edit bar and change your size right here. So I'm going to change my smiley face to be about 1¼ inches big. And I would put that right next to my name, and that's going to go on my glass. Now, if I were going to see how big that is, I would select both layers using my mouse. I could drag across both layers and see it's going to be 5.09 inches across, which would be fine because I want my my finish size 5 to 6 inches across. So that's how I do that. Amy, I'm not sure I understand what your question is. My image has the artist's name at the bottom. I'm not sure what, I've never seen that happen. So once you have that on, now the last step to do is to line it up. So if you're going to cut just one color of vinyl, you would want to keep your position of the smiley face and your name. You want to hold it together. So you're going to want to do that attach feature. But let's say you kind of got it. Maybe you're a little off. You're not sure you're centered. You can, so Laura, I'm getting ready to show you. Laura's asking, how did you join the smiling face and the name? So first of all, they're 2 separate layers, and you can see I can move them around on my canvas as 2 separate layers. If I put my little smiley face next to my name, and I take my cursor using my mouse, you can see my cursor, I click anywhere on my canvas, and then I drag my cursor across both the smiley face and my name and let it go. That selects both layers. Now with both layers selected, I can make sure they're lined up. And by lined up, I mean, I would want like a center line to go across the smiley face and my name. So let's say I had it, or you could line it up along the bottom or the top, but I kind of always like things centered along the middle. So you can select both layers, come up to your edit bar and use align and align center horizontal. And that, oops, that's not what I wanted. Why did it do that? Align center horizontally. Why is it doing that? It's not supposed to do that. Let's see, align. Let me do align to the top. Okay. Now align center horizontally is supposed to align it. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you want the vertical.
Thank you. That's my dyslexia showing up. So yeah, so I wanted the vertical because I want it to go across the vertical, not up and down like a pillar. So I have both selected and I did align vertical. So let me show you that again. Like if I have it really, kind of spaced out, I select both layers and then I just say align center vertically for this example here. So now the Kesley is in the center space of the smiley's face, but you may want to say align to the top. So both of those images are lined up on the top. Or you can say align to the bottom. however you like to do it. You can align it to the bottom. I personally like to do the align center vertically, and then I can check my measurement. Again, they're both 5.07. Now, if I were cutting this out of the same color of vinyl, this is where I would attach them together, because when I attach them together and send it over to my prepare screen, it will hold that position of each piece relative to each other. If I didn't have them attached together, so I can, if I detach those and I send it over, it moves it on my canvas. So then I would have to see, now they're aligned at the top. So now I would have to reposition them manually. Who wants to do that? But for my example today, so you guys can see layering, I am going to do my name out of black and the smiley face out of yellow. So to change the color, you select the layer and you go up to the edit bar and you change the color in the drop-down menu. So my Kesley, I'll change that to black. And then the smiley face layer, I'm going to click on that and I'll change that to yellow. Laura, if you're Laura's saying my sunflowers in top of my name. That's what I did. Select, kind of move your, okay. So if you did like what I did and you aligned it horizontal, that will move the smiley face right on in the middle of my name. So they're centered. You can do on your keyboard Control-Z and it will undo that step. And then you can go back and align center vertically. Okay, so that hopefully that will help you there, Laura. Let us know if that doesn't. Okay, Amy, I'm gonna have to come back to your question. I'm gonna hopefully copy your images. Oh, Joe lost her grid on Design Space. That's that little corner I was talking about on your rulers here. If you click up in that corner, your grid will go away. And if you click on it again, it gets bigger. And then if you click on it again, it gets smaller. So that's that little corner. And that is a great trick to do that. Scarlett, good question. Do you need to assign the color of the actual vinyl or just change the color when you cut? You don't have to change it, the actual color. You can just change it when you cut. So you can have it pink or whatever, and you can just change it when you cut. Okay, so now I'm ready to make it, and I'm going to have my smiley face will be on one mat, and my name will be on a separate mat. So I'll have a black mat and a yellow mat, and I'm actually going to use our premium permanent vinyl. And I'm going to talk about vinyl once we send this over. So let me go ahead and do continue. And that will take me to my last screen, which is where I choose my material. So my material today is the premium vinyl permanent glossy, and it just tells me to use my fine point blade. So I'm going to stop sharing here. And I'll send it over to my other screen where I can do the overhead and you guys can see my hands in action. So I'll do that. And I pause, but I'm still here. It just takes a moment to connect. How do you combine the image to my name? Jackie, to combine the image to your name, you want to select both layers and use attach, which is an action. So you can do that on the bottom. Okay, so now let me talk a little bit about Cricut material. Like we talked about the whole ecosystem. I have a couple different vinyls on my mat here. These two in the clear packaging, this is the smart vinyl and the removable vinyl. I'm sorry, they're both smart vinyl. One is a permanent vinyl and one is a removable vinyl. Now, when we're talking about premium vinyl, this is your premium vinyl comes in a tube like this. Your smart vinyl will come in clear plastic boxes. Your smart vinyl doesn't require a cutting mat to cut. You can just load it right into your machine and cut with your vinyl that way. I will be using a mat today. So I'll be using my green mat here. Now, I'm also using, like I said, I'm going to use yellow and black vinyl. So these are both premium permanent vinyl. And what that means is the permanent vinyl will adhere to your item very well. It's a nice strong vinyl. You can put it through the dishwasher if your cup is dishwasher safe. Like I think this one's dishwasher safe. I'm not 100% sure, but I put mine through the dishwasher and I have vinyl decorating mine and they go through the dishwasher and it doesn't come off. So if you are doing something that you want it to last and stick around for a while, you want to use permanent vinyl and you'll use the standard grip transfer tape with it. If you're using some of our shimmer vinyl, this is also permanent. So this is like a permanent glitter. It has a texture to it. So you need to use the strong grip transfer tape with the, if you're using the glitter vinyl or some sort of vinyl with a texture to it. So that's the different vinyls. Now you can use smart material on a Cricut cutting mat. So in fact, one of these may be, so it says on the bottom here, on the back of your vinyl, it'll tell you what type of vinyl it is. And it also has the grid line. So if you don't have a handy paper trimmer, you can just cut your vinyl with using the grid lines and you'll get an even line. So for my name Kesley, I just need a little bit of vinyl. So I'll cut about a 2-inch strip of vinyl. And then I'll put that on the mat. Now my first color to cut though is my yellow color. So let me get a little bit of yellow. And I don't need much. If I had a little scrap of yellow, I could just use a little scrap of yellow vinyl here. But I don't have a little scrap handy, so I'm going to just cut that down a bit. Now, you don't need to, you don't have to trim your vinyl down. You could put your vinyl on your whole page. I just kind of like to trim my vinyl down. It's a little bit easier to handle. Your mat comes with this plastic sleeve, so you want to make sure you save that. That's how you keep your mat clean. And then you put your vinyl down. Now on your, when you send your item to your cut screen, it will always place it in this upper left-hand corner. So you pop it up in that left-hand corner, and I like to use my brayer to make sure it's down, it's adhered to my mat. You can use your hands. The brayer is just a nice little, keeps it easier for me. But you can just use your hands, you can use your wedge tool, anything like that. Then when you're ready to load your mat into your machine, you can't see my hand. I always hold the back of my mat with my hand or the side of my mat here, just to give a little pressure. You're going to have your mat touch your gray wheels here. And just to give a little bit of, like, I really want to make sure you catch. It's not a push or anything like that. It's just you hold your hand here. It holds the mat up a little bit. You press your go button and that loads your mat in. If you're using smart materials, it'll load in your smart materials to make sure you have enough smart material to cut. And then once it's loaded in, your play button will flash for you and I'm ready to play, and it will cut my smiley face first. Okay, I'm hoping it's cutting my, oh no, it's cutting my name first. Sorry, cutting my name first. I'm gonna have to recut that. Actually, I'll stop that. I'm gonna stop that. So I had the wrong material down. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop it and end that cut because I want to cut my name out of the black. So I'm going to go ahead and put my black material on the other side of my mat. You guys are gonna laugh, but I'm going to put it on the other side of my mat, and then I'll cut that again. So I'm going to load that back in so it'll cut on my black material. I should have looked before I did that. Michelle, can you scan images to the design center? You can upload scanned images. So while that's cutting, I'll grab something I made and show you all. I think this is it. Yeah. Okay. So like I mentioned, I love to scan in names. So this this little pen holder, my parents, my mom and dad had written a note to my daughter, and I took my mom's handwriting and scanned it in and then cut it out of infusible ink and infused it to the bag for my daughter, which I haven't given to my daughter yet because I just love it so much because it's my mom's handwriting. So you would scan that in, save it as a JPEG, and then upload that into Cricut Access. How do you change the color of the smiley face after attaching them together? So Kia, once you've attached something together, you're telling your software that you are going to cut that out of the same material. So you're basically saying, I'm going to cut the smiley face and my name out of the same material. If you want to cut them out of different materials, like I'm doing, different colors, you don't want to have them attached. So you want to detach them, and then you can cut them out of 2 different colors of vinyl. Does that make sense? Let me know if that doesn't. I know it's, when you're getting started, it feels overwhelming a little bit. Like there's so much to learn as you're getting started. And it's like, it's a lot to learn. But once you learn it and you kind of get the basics down, you will be amazed at all the different things you can create and how confident you get doing those creations. So it's just a little bit, it's a little bit overwhelming at first. So give yourself time to learn all the different aspects of it and start with small projects. I go on Facebook. There's a Cricut official Facebook group. If I ever have a question, there's an amazing group of people there to answer questions. They're fantastic. Okay, so now I have the little smiley faces cut and my name is cut. So I'm going to go ahead and close up my machine. I'm going to just set that a little bit off to the side here so I can have a little bit more workspace. Now, I always remove my material from my mat like this. I flip my mat over and I peel the vinyl off of my mat and I set it aside. Now you guys noticed I used both sides of my mat to cut. I loaded it cutting from this side and I loaded it cutting from that side. Now, as you work with your mats, you may forget to put your protective sleeve back on, or you may have pets that walk around on your mats and stuff like that, and you get cat hair or whatever. I use these baby wipes. They're alcohol-free. I think they're recyclable. Pretty sure they're recyclable. They're alcohol-free. They're just chlorine-free, just basic little wipes I can keep in my drawer here by my desk. And after I use my machine, or if I've left it out, or I notice it's kind of dirty, or has little pieces on it, I just wipe my mat clean using that. And Felicia, I'm so sorry, I'm running over our time a little bit. Is that okay? I'm so sorry. I'll probably got 5 more minutes.
You're fine.
Okay, thank you so much. And thanks everybody for hanging in. If you have to scoot out, totally understand. This class is being recorded and you'll get the email with the recording and a survey to fill out. So that's there. Now, it may not feel sticky right away. You have to let it dry for a minute and then the stick is right back on your mat. So that's what I like to do. And that's how I keep my mats clean and they last for a good long time. So I did do, I think we did the smiley face. I'm not the smiley face. I think we did do this as a class. If I have a second before we finish up, if we have some more questions, I'll go back and look. Okay, so I just trimmed those down a little bit so I didn't have so much vinyl. I didn't want to waste a lot of vinyl. And I just used my weeding tool. Now it's got a pointy tip there and I'll weed out my name here. So I just go ahead and remove that part here and we'll weed that out like that. And then I'll take this little bit here and we'll weed that out there. Now there is my name. Doesn't it look so good? I love it. I love how clean it is. Like if I ever tried to do that with an X-Acto knife, like I would have in the old days before Cricut, you would have like used scissors to cut that out, a template to trace it and then cut it. Oh, it took hours. And now I'm just going to remove the little bits of my smiley face here. So I have my smiley face and my name. Now comes the fun part. We're going to use our transfer tape. And this is the standard grip transfer tape. It's gray in color, so I know it's not the strong grip transfer tape. If you ever accidentally use the strong grip transfer tape, it's okay. It's not going to hurt anything. But your vinyl will not come off as easily. So I always encourage everyone to make sure you're using the right type of vinyl for your project. So I'm just using standard grip transfer tape because I'm just using premium vinyl here. Now I have these little grid lines, so I want to make sure I line everything up back to the center how I had it. I could do this one of two ways. One is I could just do the smiley face and put the smiley face on my glass here, my tumbler, and then add my name to the tumbler. But what I'm going to do is do them both on my transfer tape here. And the way I'm going to do that is first I'll just kind of get an idea how far down it's going to go. So it's going to go down about that far. Okay, so I'm going to just give myself a little hinge at the top of my transfer tape. So I'm just going to take about an inch, a square down, and I'm going to fold it from there. Now, whether you have the grids on your workspace or not, from that half folded down bit, I'm going to apply this onto my mat like that. Now it's going to work like a hinge. So I can first put on my smiley face, and I can just bring it over and pull back a little bit of my transfer tape here and put that on my smiley face. And then I can put down my name, Kesley. Let's pull this up a smidge. Make sure I've got it lined up where I want it. And then put this down again. So now I have my transfer tape is down on my vinyl pieces, and they're together on the same piece of transfer tape. So I'm just going to take my transfer tape, turn it upside down, and roll. I call this the rock and roll. So you just kind of want to go at 45-degree angles and remove the backing of your vinyl off of your cuts. And if you have a hard time with it, just take it and bend it where your vinyl's sticking, fold it down, create a crease, and roll it back more. So you just push it down, create a crease, and just see that rock and roll, how I kind of rock it and roll it back and forth off of the transfer tape there. So now there's my name. And to keep my little tumbler from rolling, I'm going to just put that there. And I can add my name on here. Now, I've cleaned this off. If it were glass, I would clean it off with alcohol. For plastic, I just use soap and water and make sure it's really dry. And then I'm just going to add my name onto here. So you just line it up. And I eyeball it. I know when you first start doing it, you want it to be absolutely perfect. And then after a while, you get a little bit more comfortable and you're like, okay, that looks good. And you can eyeball it. If it's something for myself, I definitely have no problem eyeballing it. If it's something I'm making for somebody else, then I probably would use a tape measure and ruler and all that kind of fancy stuff. But for just me, I'm okay if I'm a little crooked. And then you just remove the transfer tape. Now you can save your transfer tape. So once I've taken that off, I can save my transfer tape here. And I can just go like that and put that right down on there like that. And there's my name. Is that backwards for you guys? It looks back. It's backwards for me. So I hope that's not.
Nope, you're good.
Okay, good. Perfect. All right. So yeah, that's all you need to do for your vinyl there, guys. That's everything. And then since I used the permanent vinyl, I can just put that in the dishwasher. I don't think this cup is dishwasher safe. Oh, let's see. It'll tell me. Hand wash only. So I would hand wash this one. But if I put it on glass, like if I did it on a wine glass or just like a glass, beer glass or something like that, those can go right into the dishwasher. And I have planters from 2016 that I have, like my son's graduation, and they're outside, and this 2016 is still on there. All right. No, you don't need to put Mod Podge over it. You just, the permanent vinyl sticks. You don't need to put Mod Podge over it or anything like that. In fact, I don't Mod Podge any of my tumblers or anything like that. Now I have, yeah, I don't Mod Podge those. I've Mod Podged on like a planter or something like that. Before we run, and I know, thank you guys so much for your time. I'm a little bit over. I want to see if I have, somebody was asking about my the class I did on the name. So if I go into my stuff, I can go through my old projects. And if anybody wants to, you can feel free to follow me in Design Space. Like there's my Felicia project there, but you're always welcome to follow me in Design Space. You might like some of the projects I've done here or not. I'm just looking to see, I think that that pencil pouch has a video that goes with it. If I've done something for Michael's class, I do try and link the video from the class to the project in Design Space. And I don't see it easily here. I know it's in here somewhere, but that's what I like. Oh, there it is. Yeah.
Real quick, did you also do a class on infusible ink that you would have that class link to your project?
Yes, I believe we have. Any of my t-shirt classes, I usually show infusible ink. Let's see if this is one. Nope. Nope. Okay, I'll have to go back through and look. I'm so sorry, guys, that I don't have that. I know I have projects that have infusible ink on them, like our witches projects here. I don't know exactly which ones they are, so I'm so sorry about that. But I know in the Michael's YouTube channel, if you do a search for Cricut classes, you'll see me. And I know we've done it. You're right, Anita. We have done it. And on mugs, we've done a mug class. Lots of fun classes. All right, guys, thank you all so very much for your time today. I can't wait to see what you create and your tumblers. If you share them on social media, just go ahead and give me a tag. I'd love to see it. You can reach out to me on Facebook and YouTube, Kesley.365.
Hey everyone, before you log off, I am going to put this link in the chat. So I hope you have your chat open. I apologize. I'm going to try to stick this in there really, really quick. I hope that you're able to grab this link. Give me one quick second. I am adding it momentarily. This is an old class. So I'm going to say, if you are looking for it in our YouTube, definitely put in your search field, Michael's online classes or Michael's Cricut classes, infusible ink, something, give it more of a name so that you will be able to find it. But I did put the link in the chat. So definitely, if you have the chat open, please click that link. That is one of the infusible ink tips and trick with Cricut. So please, please, please grab that really, really quick before we close out the class. I do see someone with their hand up. Unfortunately, the mics are muted, so I would not be able to answer your question. So really, really quick, please put that in the Q&A so that either Kesley or Anita can answer your question.
And thank you for that link for that project. That's perfect.
You are very welcome.
I think, is that?
So Lana, I hope you can get that question in really, really quick.
Oh, Kesley, how do we follow you? That's a great question. In Design Space, do a keyword search for Kesley Anderson, and I'll pop up. You just go to the bottom of your search results, and I'll pop up at the bottom of your search results. And I'm trying to add to my YouTube channel, but it's Kesley.365. So I'm trying to add more information on there. And Facebook, it's Kesley.365 as well. So thank you guys. I hope you enjoyed the class, and we'll see you in 2 weeks where we do that deeper dive in the layers panel. Thanks a bunch, everyone.